Alright, I made a video about how to rush down a blaster player, and then everybody was like, but what about Clash Blasters? They don't have a slow fire rate. Checkmate, Gem, we're smarter than you. So, fine, here's what you do against a Clash Blaster. The most important goal is to control the fight, to be able to only fight them when you're ready to, because once you're in a fight with a Clash Blaster and they get in range, you're probably not getting out of it before someone goes down. Their huge blast radius and faster fire rate than normal blasters makes it so you're probably not dodging shots, so unless you can get out of range, it's them or you at that point. Their range isn't much to speak of, so a lot of weapons can just keep their distance, but one trick Clash Blasters do have is to play a fight entirely behind cover, just using their silly hitbox to hit you while you absolutely do not have line of sight on them. The main reason, in my view, that the Clash Blaster is so weak competitively is that it just doesn't splat you very quickly, especially if you're only relying on indirects. It has to hit 4 of them, the same number as, say, an N-Zap, which itself doesn't have the most competitive time to splat as a Slayer weapon, but has way faster a fire rate than a Clash Blaster does. With a lot of weapons, getting stuck in a fight with a Clash Blaster isn't even necessarily a problem, because they just turn and splat the Clash Blaster before it has time to splat them. Now, in theory, Clash Blaster players could go for directs, which cut the time to splat in half, making it a 2-shot if you hit both of them. In practice, that's not super easy to do, and if you're strong enough at aiming that weapon to hit them, you probably get more value out of that aiming ability on a different weapon that paints better on top of being more reliable at getting clean splats. If you're going to hit the first direct every time, why not pick up a weapon where that's the only shot you need? Even the Rapid Blaster, which doesn't splat with one direct, benefits from getting that first one, because after they hit it, they only need an indirect or even just a spark to confirm the splat. Clash just needs a whole second direct. Double directs splat pretty quickly, but if that's the characteristic of a weapon you're looking for, the 52 gal also 2 shots, but with a much faster fire rate, better paint, and longer range. The Splattershot 3 shots, but with a much faster fire rate, roughly equal range, much better paint, and the same special, because you were using the vanilla kit, right? Right? In practice, most people who pick Clash aren't picking it for some perceived advantage of double directing people, but for the large indirect radius, either for using it around cover, or just plain making the aiming task easier. That means playing to out-DPS a Clash Blaster, even at the expense of tanking some damage and not working that hard to avoid it, often gets you clean wins against them because indirecting someone 4 times is just really slow. They often have to rely on ambushes, which they can't set up well from their own paint, given how poorly they paint for themselves, or playing in a strong position using cover. Otherwise, they can't do much but sit back and throw splat bombs. Because you were using the vanilla kit, right? Right? In fact, when I talked about this weapon with Becca on an episode of Professional Development, she said she uses Inksaver sub-gear to let her throw more splat bombs, that was one of the priorities in her playstyle. Clash is a weapon that tends to be a skill check for players early on, in that to gain access to one of the most powerful counter strategies, turning, aiming at the Clash, and out DPSing them, you need to have trained the reaction to do so, and have learned to aim well enough to hit those shots. The Clash isn't going to miss, at least if you're at the same skill level, they won't miss nearly as much as you will. So the pressure is on you to take advantage of the larger time window that you have to win the fight. As soon as players gain the ability to do that, you tend to see Clash Blaster usage drop off massively in favor of other frontline weapons, and only surface every now and then on specifically tower control, where its AoE radius does come in handy for clearing tower. Okay, comments section. Are you happy now?